Nityanandaya Gurave Vishya Samsara Harine Bhaktakare Kadehaya Namaste Chisaratmane Om Namaste Sarvadosha Vivajitam Nirayam Niratam Tam
ourselves to go deep, settle within our own beings, allowing the breath to permeate our entire physical form. And as you exhale, simply letting go, allowing yourself to become empty. Expand as you breathe in. Exhale, let go. Sadhgurnath Maharaj Ki Jai. So as many of you present here are aware, we've just concluded a course from the Understanding the Siddhapath series, Further Explorations, The Bliss of Freedom. So congratulations to all those who survived the 2 weeks here in the ashram and all of the knowledge and wisdom that you would have received. And as Baba Muktananda would say, this certificate simply states that you have completed the course, but the actual examination will take place in the world outside. When you deal with everyday life, situations, people, how much of this have you actually imbibed? How much of it you have actually learned, and how much you are actually able to exhibit what you have really heard, imbibed, and digested. So we'll begin with our senior most, Umesh Nagarkate. As I watched him over the 2 weeks, I thought he probably has all of this in his head, on his tongue, and everywhere in between. Because he met Baba way back in the 70s, and then he wrote books for Baba, Abhangas, poems, cooked for Baba, and has many intimate and personal stories of his time with Baba. Led a lot of satsangs here on the East Coast with his late wife Chitra, and inspired a lot of young people. We have Shruti here, who probably is, by the way, inspired by Umesh and Chitra, because she came into this through her parents, and she's found a wonderful husband who also walks the path, or at least tries to walk the path that his family, that their whole lineage, I think he's the 11th, right? 11th Guru, Swami Sadhguru Shankar Ashram. They have a mutt or a ashram in Karnataka in South India. And he's a young Swami, young meaning younger than me, just by a few years. But a wonderful being who also inspires the young to walk this path. And so our theme yesterday, our theme today is exactly this, that all of you who have been here, and all of who have been here before, the idea is you take this knowledge, you take this wisdom, wherever you are, share it with others. So we'll start with Umesh. I don't know what he's going to do with this. He's probably already got from his college, from his university days. He's our youngest 83-year-old. Then we have Eduardo Hoffman. Parvati is missing.
Missing in action. Okay.
I figured. So we have Fernando, Eduardo, both from Mexico. Fernando, I think, has effected change, right? Eileen will report to us. That's his wife. Parvati from Argentina. We have Gopita from Reno. Peter to learn to play the harmonium more. She ran a center for many years, as many of you might know, in Northern California, and also coordinated a lot of the Satsang tours through California. And our second senior most, Jai Shri, whose birth date was yesterday. Currently a resident of Shanti Mandir, Walden. Then we have our steward, Juan Carlos Gonzalez. He meets a lot of people every day. So we have to make sure he brings us 10 people every time you come. We have Lucinda. She's from 6 hours north. Does chiropractic work. Lives more in the ashram than 6 hours north, is what she said. We have Prema, who's Maria Josefina Albornoz Torrens. She told me yesterday, don't forget me because I think of you every day. Right? I told her with a name like Prema, we can't forget her. We have Mark Hayes from Synchronicity. Mark manages Master Charles's place, Synchronicity. And then we have Mary Hambra from Mexico. She's a Hatha Yoga teacher for the last 12, 15 years, I think. 20? Okay, wow. And she comes along with many of her students who study Hatha Yoga and counseling and therapy and so on. Then we have Scott Lamp. Wow. We had a 40-year hiatus in between. He asked me if I remembered him. We both look a little different. And now we invite Niteshwari to come forward. She was our translator through the course and through all of the various programs. Also, along with Devyani, manages the office here at Shanti Mandir.
The back office.
The back office. You have to adjust your mic so it's closer to you. You have to pull your mic to you. No, the stand itself.
Like this?
A little bit down. A little bit more.
Así?
Poco más.
Poco más.
He's coming. He's coming.
Sadhgurunath Maharaj ki jai. What a great day today. I see everybody beaming. It's so incredible. I never went to college, so I love the scholar atmosphere and seeing everybody studying, carrying the books, being with the teachers. And also I think being a great lover of Kashmir Shaivism. Let me look at the time. So that we don't have to imagine or try to figure out what Abhinavagupta's taught to us in Kashmir, the great sage of Kashmir Shaivism, because we are here. We have everything. We live in the Guru's house. We can study in the Guru's house. We have teachers who share their knowledge with us or check with the Guru to make sure that we learn, the facts and not fake news. And then he used to have also arts. He wrote plays, Abhinavagupta, and he got dancers and all types of entertainment. And here we have the beautiful classic Indian music concerts that uplift us so much and lead directly into meditation. All types of instruments come here with the artists we never knew there was, like a santur has 100 strings, for example, or all other instruments we never knew. So we're always being educated lovingly and at the same time practicing here in the best place in the world to do it. So I feel beyond grateful. And also because thanks to the fact that there's always somebody who doesn't speak English, I get to participate in the course. Because as staff, I wouldn't, right? But they need me to. So I go to the classes. I'm so happy to translate. And then translating to me, I'll be brief, but it's a meditation. It's like I'm totally there and not at all there, and I love it. And I pray they never find an artificial intelligence translator that is better than I. So I can, it's also translating for Gurudev's 6-quarter experience. So that, and then the people also, they come to me sometimes and they make comments, and the comment that I heard mostly this time is, I cannot believe that I'm understanding this. We open the book and we go, what? But thanks to the explanations, to the work of the teachers, to the exchange of opinions, then we imbibe it, and then we feel it, and we truly won. Even if it's for 1 second, and then another second, time is a succession of seconds. So that's wonderful. So now I have the pleasure of introducing you. The next speaker, who is Eduardo.
I forgot. Lavarji.
Oh, Lavarji. Sorry. Lavarji is going to talk to us about Lord Ganesha, whose birthday was yesterday. Yes, right? Yes. So he's going to tell us the stories. And the stories is also so important. I was thinking, how come that the Guru gives us Indian names? 1 minute? Yeah, because I had this idea. So what happens is that the Indian culture has been preserved for 5,000, 6,000 years, and we wonder how with so many invasions, right? So what happens is that it has been kept in 3 ways. 3 ways is one that they write on some like trees, bark of trees, and they preserve it with some special products there that they knew from before, and that they're still in the South Indian temples, hidden. And sometimes people can see them. And the second one is carvings on the South Indian temples. So the whole story is carved there, which was not, the British, they couldn't destroy it. So it's there. And the third time is the memorized stories, the whole thing. There are people there who the whole Brahma Sutras they know by heart. So what I'm trying to say here is that we have access to all of this. And when we hear a story like that, then it's much more than that. It's a whole Mahabharata that comes to us with memories. So when you say, for example, somebody's name is Sita, it brings all that culture. Everything has a reason. So now we're going to listen to somebody who we love very much, we admire his dedication, and it will be a pleasure to learn again from him.
He's going to speak in English.
I'm fine. Prarambhi vinati karu ganapati vidya daya sagara ajñānatva haruni buddhimati de आराध्य मूरेश्वरा चिंता क्लेश दरिद्र दुख अवघे देशांतरा पाठवी हे रंभा गणनायका गजमुखा भक्ता बहुतोषवी मंगलमूर्ति मोरया। जय गुरुदेव। I welcome you all with all my heart at Shanti Mandir on this Sunday Satsang and the second day of Ganpati birthday celebration. In 2003 or 2004, I guess, Lord Ganesha come to reside in Shanti Mandir at the bank of the stream. I call it Shiva Tirtha. It's the name Shiva Tirtha. Gurudev inaugurated the temple. Madhu and Amita hosted the worship. 20 years have passed since. There are many incarnation of Lord Ganesha. Lord Ganesha offered his darshan to several people in different form. As per Hindu calendar and scripture, he was born on Bhadrapad Shuddha Chaturthi, the fourth day of the first lunar fortnight. He finished his assignment and took Jal Samadhi, immersed in water. On the 14th day, Bhadrapad Shuddha Chaturdashi, that is where it is 10-day festival, his history of Arthan Ganpati called Parthiv Ganesh, meaning made with mud. The Ganesha's statue made with mud by Parvati for the protection, her protection. I am not going on narrate it the take of time, the big story. But I am going on narrate an incident relating to other story, one story. I was traveling with Shri Gurudev to Melbourne, Australia, maybe 25-26 years ago, for celebrating Navratra. I met devotee of Lord Ganesha. He told me he knows Ganesh Puran. He said, I regard Lord Ganesha, but I don't have any regard of his father Shankara, Mahadev. I don't feel Shankara cannot be Mahadev or great God. First of all, he cut off his son's head. Can't he understand that much? Lord Shiva. Then he learned that Ganesha happened be his son, and in order to bring him to life, he cut off the head of an animal, an elephant. Like the animal, kill the animal, who can be great God? Mahadev. The devotee's question. I explained to him why Mahadeva is great God. In our culture, you don't just read Sans Puran, just Ganesh Puran you read. You don't have all the facts. You have to also read his father's Puran and mother's Purans also. The Shiva Puran has a Shiva story, and Shakti Puran has a Parvati story, Shakti stories. You won't understand Ganapati by just reading Ganesh Puran. You have to also read Shiva Puran and Shakti Puran. The elephant was actual a cursed Gandharva, Shapit Gandharva. A celestial begin. This play was redeemed that celestial. You understand my English? I just bhav. You understand bhav? Bhav. This play was to redeem that Gandharva. I did not get invited to narrate this story to. I told him that Shankara not only killed two animals but two. Not only he killed two animals. He killed an elephant for his son, and he killed the god like Ram for his father-in-law. Shankara may not be great god, but he was a great surgeon. Because he successfully performed two operations of attaching animal head to two human bodies. The second point is modern scientists first experimented a new medicine on animal. Here Shankara first experimented on his son and give him respect for the first worship, and he did second experimented on his father-in-law and give him the honors of creating the earth. The relationship of son and father-in-law are delicate, but he performed successful operation on both and took care of all relationships. That is the reason Shankara is great God. Nobody do that kind of operation till now. On the occasion of Ganesha celebration, millions of salutations to Shankara, Parvati and Ganesha. All the three deities. Salutation to Gurudev for permitting me. And thank you also all of you listening me. Sadguru Nath Maharaj ki jai.
Thank you to Umesh for making Marathi into English. Hola. So she's going to continue there.
So now it will be my honor and pleasure to introduce you to Eduardo. Eduardo is going to give some words. Eduardo first came to Walden with Mary. Like what I was saying, she's a very good fisherwoman. She brings many of his students here. He's always quietly ready to lend a hand wherever needed. In the Satsang in Mexico, he helps so much. He has two daughters, of course, in Mexico, and a wife, and supports wholeheartedly the household when Evelyn, his wife, wants to travel. Recently she went to India, and he's the type of person that I will take care of the kids. You know? He's an avid student, and he participated in intensives and on the course retreats, which have the generic name Understanding the Siddha Path. And some kind of miracle always happened with people, like in one of his recent visits, there was a friend of his who was not able to travel, wanted to meet Gurudev. He just learned in a second that Gurudev was going to that particular town and took the friend there. So it took all this work to continue spreading the message and sharing the grace. So I invite Eduardo here to say his sharing.
You have to make it higher.
Yes.
Yeah, over there. It's good.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Sadhguru Nath Maharaj Ki Jai. Okay. I just love so much to come to these courses, which are about understanding. And it's difficult to understand, because I have so many things in my head, and sometimes the clarity to grasp what needs to be grasped is just not there. For instance, when Gurudev called my name to go and receive my diploma, me being a worldly person and having this exteriorized mind, I first received the piece of paper and then bowed to him. It should be the other way around. And not because his person wants that acknowledgement, but because his principle as grace smiles back, because I am putting him first within my mind. And that's what I think the path is all about. The course, for me, it's always about the teachings, but it's really not about the teachings. It's about the experience of those teachings. And I have so many things that I could share, but I just want to share one. I have come here for some years, and every time I get served this dish that Umesh prepares. And I have ate it without even knowing that he prepared the dish. And I have spent many hours in the kitchen helping, but never really got involved in the food preparation. So yesterday, well, the day before that, Umesh asked me to help him out to prepare breakfast. So I was there almost on time, because I've been going through some crisis in my mind, and that slows me down and gets me out of rhythm. I'm aware of that, but I'm also aware that I keep going. I keep moving. slowly or slower, but I don't stop. So I got there. Umesh was already there. And as soon as he see me, he received me with a smile. Not with a critique, not with "you're late." That was my own thinking. He was there just smiling and getting ready for doing everything. So he had his recipe. He knew all the ingredients and the proper order. And he just did some fast calculations in his mind. How many of this, how many of that, how big the pot, etc., etc. And he started just asking me to do the chopping and to bring the bowls and all of that. And he started mixing everything. Then Mary showed up, and she also started helping. So there were the three of us just involved in preparing breakfast. And then at some point, he mixed everything, and he tasted. And then he gave a little bit to Mary. And then I was in the other side of the kitchen, and he called me and said, "You should taste it too, because Baba taught us that whoever is involved in this should taste the food first." So we taste the food. And he didn't say anything. He first asked Mary and myself what we think about the flavor. So Mary said something, I said something else. And we never really listened to what he thought. But then he started like adding more things and stirring it up. And then the same process. So we gave the feedback, and he didn't say again what he was thinking. And he added some more things. And going through that process really improved the flavor of the dish until I think it was perfect. So then we served the food. I sat down, I grabbed my dish, and I started eating. My experience with that meal was completely different because I got a different understanding of what's involved. It's not only the ingredients, it's the knowledge, the process, the order, the openness, the love, and there's always Baba involved. So this course is about this. Every time I sit down and I listen to the teachers share the same material over and over again, the sharing is different because in some way they are different, but also I am different. So the understanding is also different. But it's not only that, it's just that the mind starts to marinate in that vibration of the teachings, and then you get out of the classroom and things start to happen that are related to what you're studying because you are more aware, like the ingredients and the process of eating the breakfast. So I'm just so grateful for receiving so much. And I don't know if I have more time or if that should be it. So, so I think we should allow ourselves to get involved, to be open enough to understand and to be humble to acknowledge that it's okay not to be right, it's okay not to be perfect, but we should keep moving into that direction. Thank you. So,
changing altitudes. So now the other one of the two amigos, Fernando. They know Gurudev since the year 2011. Aline came to Walden in May 2011 and the children and Fernando in October of the same year 2011. And in another visit to Walden, Aline was in a ceremony of 50th anniversary of the wedding of a couple, after which Gurudev asked her, would you like one day to have such a ceremony performed for you and Fernando? And Aline said, of course, I would. So the following time she came with her brother, Raimundo, and then she went with friends to India, so she is very, very involved in this. And during the Bhagavatam of the year 2014 and 15 in India, they got married in Magod, Fernando and Aline, because there was another couple being married, and Gurudev asked them, are there any other couples who would like to get married? And they said, yeah, we'll do it. And Lavarji and Govind were the priests for that ceremony. Also, Annabelle, who is Aline's sister, and their nephew Andre, and many of them, they used to come for the children retreat, for the youth retreat also. So, and Marifer and Aline, they went to the 60th birthday of Gurudev in India. And this again, I repeat myself, that this type of couples are wonderful because one supports the other, and then both can travel. If they don't travel together, it's fine. But the thing is, like Eduardo said, keep on moving. So Fernando is going to share some words here.
I bring my notes. So, among you. Well, I start. Thank you, Gurudev, Deviano, the faculty, our classmates. No, because it has been a terrific course. No, I will bring out. Okay. The teachers gave us a homework. No, last Friday of the course. They asked us to share a few words regarding our experience with the course, and how to incorporate it to our practice. We have a beautiful session in class, and all the classmates with open hearts shared their views. It was an insightful exercise, really. I will try to recap some of the highlights of my notes, but first let me say some things I'm sure I see in many of my classmates that there are qualities of a yogi, perhaps, that dwells in them. I will not name that name, but you will know who she is or he is. A storyteller, a sweet person, a tender person, an observer, a brave, an open, candid, analytic, centered, resilient, eccentric, warm, disciplined, and a healer. Many of the qualities are among many of us. No, it's not just one quality. Okay. If I don't get lost, I go back to my notes now. So I want to share a little bit of the course with everybody. I will try to not be talking so long, and also a little bit mixed with my personal experience, if I may. Thank you, Niteshwari, for introducing. That's just one. I will try to, to get another precise about the wedding we have at Magod. Careful, because it has to be with two words: passion and compassion. Love and compassion. No? The thing is, also passion. The thing is that when Aline and myself got married, we never had a religious wedding, and we only had a civil law wedding. So it was something like, I think it was something we had to do in some time. Well, Tejwari already said what happened at that Bhagavatam, but I want to give you some insights of that, because when Gurudev says that, we were among like 500 people. It was incredible, beautiful days there. Mary was there also. Quick parenthesis, Mary also we are in the path because Aline know Mary through yoga, and then they became friends, so we are here now. So keep fishing. No? Well, the thing is, when Gurudev says, well, I think I understood that. Though, if anybody wants to get married, you can do it. So I was like, oh yeah, I want to do it. So it was like 250 on the left side, men, and 250 girls on the other side. And I looked out and I thought I saw Alina and said, hey, you hear Gurudev? I want to get married. So I thought that she looked at me and said, yeah, let's do it. No? So I asked Devyani, and Devyani said, of course we will do it, you know. But the real thing is, later my wife confessed to me that she didn't want to. She was going through a lot of grillas. She doesn't want to see me. She wanted me to be away. But I have going first, so Gurudev said yes, so she has to. A little bit is being really a loving thing that happened to us. This is the love part of it. No? The other part is compassion. When Dana shared yesterday the fable of the train, of the passenger of the train, no? These ones that comes to the station, no? The locomotive of the train and the engineer is the guru, and the lineage are the carriage, no? Or the carts. So I found myself, when well, this is the introduction, let's say. When Gurudev came to Mexico, and I had the privilege to meet him, he has spent some time with the people, obviously, he does in all his travels. No? They went to Xochimilco. I have beautiful photos of him with my little girls, no? Luciana, Marifer and Luciana. They were, at that time, about 8 years old and 3 years old, no? So it was beautiful. And that day, I was working in the corporate stuff. And Gurudev visits Barbara's house in Mexico, another person of the Sangha. Sorry, I forgot something, I recall. Lavarji married us in that ceremony in Bhagavatam. Thank you very much. Okay. Very important, very important. And, well, so in this visit of Gurudev to Barbara's house, after Satsang, there was be a lunch. So I was at office, and my wife called me and told to me, you must come to the lunch and meet Gurudev. But I was like, oh no, I can't. I am busy, you know. I have some work to do. Well, you know, I was clouded in my mind. So she said to me, you better come, no? Because this is the path I'm gonna be following the next years. So I want you to see it and experience it. So I'm very glad that I took the decision to say yes. Okay. So that's when I met you and everybody. I'm so happy about it. Well, this is one part of the history. The other part is, as the satsang was going on and the lunch, my little girl, Marifer, wants some coffee. And the coffee was all the way in other part of the room. So she went alone and get the coffee. But Barbara's grandmother is from a German person. No, she's very strict, and she knows that you cannot give coffee to a person who is 8 years old. So she went to my door and said, you cannot have coffee. No? So Marifer started running away and making a big mess of everything. No? And she was crying and running, went to her mother, to Aline, and started talking, for my surprise, in a very good English. And she said that. So then I saw Gurudev coming to her, hug her, hold her hand, walking around, go to the coffee brewer, serve coffee, milk, sugar, with so compassionate love. So warm. I was crying from the other side. And that moment, I hopped in the train. So I have learned so much. Thank you very much. Okay.
start for the next part. I think so, right? You're done, right? Yeah.
Yes.
It's really hard to follow that. Man, I'm not sure you might have missed your calling there, Fernando. Stand-up comedian. It's not too late in the transition.
Right on time.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Sadgurunad
Maharaj ki jai.
Yeah. It has really been a course. I mean, we've all taken a number of courses and taught a number of courses. I can't help it, excuse me. But this course really was something extremely special. I mean, the energy, which we call Shakti, in some of the classes was unbelievable. And there was this transmission that we've been talking about. It was extremely palpable. There was not one single person in the room that was not aware of what was going on. I was, and I've said this to all of the students, that it was an incredible honor to be a part of that. I mean, it meant as much to me, and I know to the other teachers, as it did to you all. And, we thank, the Guru for having the compassion to bring this forward. And it truly was his inspiration several years ago when we started this. And it just keeps evolving and becomes more and more powerful, more and more clarified. And this is the way we are continuing the living tradition of the Siddha Path. And without you all, it's not possible. And so we thank you with great love and respect as we welcome you into the great Siddha family. She needs to be careful there.
Madhu's going. It's okay.
Madhu's
Hello,
going.
hello. Everybody
Okay.
sit.
Yeah.
Have a seat. Have a seat.
Yeah. So, just to be clear, as I said during the course, if you're here, you have received Shaktipat. So if anybody has any doubts, I just want to confirm. If you don't believe me, you can ask Gurudev. You have received Shaktipat. As I mentioned in the course, there are, supposedly in Kashmir Shaivism, we say that there are 27 levels of intensity of Shaktipat. So it goes all the way from the most imperceptible to the final Tivra, where you leave your body. It's so powerful. So, fortunately, none of you have gotten that. We're somewhere in between. So, but just to be clear, you are part of the family, as we've used the beautiful analogy. Gurudev started it. You're on the train. You've gotten on the train, and the engine is Gurudev, and he's leading the train, and you're on the tracks. And just stay on the tracks. So that's the whole deal. So, as I mentioned, excuse me, in the course, the truth is simple. Everybody's got that in their notes, I know. But and not a but, I just want to add to that this Siddha path is ancient. As far as my research has gone, maybe Nityeshwari is going to be able to enlighten me about something that I missed, but the Siddha path is the oldest, the Vedic tradition is the oldest spiritual tradition in the world. That's what I believe, and that's what, from my research. I mean, I'm open to anybody that has an argument. But it's even more magnanimous, to use one of Gurudev's words. It's more magnanimous than that, because in the Siddha path, there is no aspect of the Indian spiritual tradition that is not included. Every single aspect is included. There is not another tradition, not another path like it. So the magnanimity of the path must be recognized, and I would hope it would be in high relief in your consciousness and in your awareness. So that's part of my closing and what I would like to leave with you. And the last thing I'd like to say is, you know, in following the thread of simplicity, I'll call it magnanimous simplicity. I boiled down the path to just 2 questions. This is the product of my contemplation. Just 2 questions, and I'll leave them with you. 1, you ask the question, who am I? Who am I? If you answer that question, you're halfway there at least. But that's a question that will continue to drive you with momentum and inspiration. But the real rasa, the real fruit of the path is the second question. How do I serve? How do I serve? This is when, as Gurudev said, that's when you get the examination. That is the question that you must ask yourself in every circumstance, in every relationship, and in every opportunity that you have, in every moment. How can I serve this situation, this person? Whatever the case may be, how do I serve it? How do I uplift it? That's the most profound thing you can do as a human being. And in that way, you truly will be following the Siddha path. As Baba said every day, I welcome you all with love and respect. That's it. So with that, I'd like to segue into an introduction. I am introducing 2 people. And the first one is someone who I just met a few years ago, but we have discovered that we are kindred souls. But his original guru, the one that brought him on the path, was a very dear friend of mine, as well as Gurudev. He's been spoken of already. I met him first, his first teacher, his first guru. I met him first when he was Chuck, and then he became Arjuna, Baba's first Western correspondence secretary, Larry being the second. And then he became Swami Vivekananda. I mean, the great Vivekananda. Baba named all of his Swamis very significantly. There was a lot of intention and meaning behind it. That was my experience with all of us. And then he evolved into Brother Charles, and then Master Charles. And throughout all of his life, as Gurudev has said, he was extremely eccentric, and he carved his own path. It was always within the groove that Baba taught us, but it was his own expression, very unique, and it was always very beautiful, full of love and compassion. And Mark was one of his students, and he spent a great deal of time with him. And what I've discovered in this short period of time, I remember when he first came, he was wearing his shoes, and I asked Gurudev, I said, "You're wearing his shoes in here." And I asked Gurudev, I said, "Should I say something to him?" Because I'm always the one that kind of leans into it, you know. And Gurudev said, "No, it's all right. Just let him be. Let him be." His infinite compassion. You know, he had the long view. And near Mark, I saw he had his socks on this time. So that's called evolution. So yeah, Mark is one that definitely leans into his sadhana. And all of you that have had the pleasure of meeting him and interacting with him, he's got a lot of juice still. We're all kind of aging a little bit, but Mark's still got a lot of juice, a lot of passion for the work, for the seva, for the service. And it's been such a pleasure continuing this beautiful, loving relationship with a very loving person. And I hope and pray that you continue to let that love flow. So here he is, Mark Hayes, the president of Synchronicity, and it's a great honor and pleasure to be able to introduce you to all the world.
Shorter.
Yeah. From the middle here, yeah. The other way, the other way. There, you go.
Gurudev. So I just, as he was instructing me on how to lower the microphone, I acknowledged that he's very good at instructions. I'm very good at following instructions. So, the great goddess has had a wonderful play in that there's barely been a moment that I've had to prepare this talk. Right down to I thought this morning satsang started at 10. And if I hadn't run into Prema, asked me what I was still doing up at the building, it would have been 10 o'clock. And it's really perfect because I tend to be an extreme doer, and I get a lot done. And there's lots of doing involved in all of that. And when I was given the opportunity to do this, I was instructed to speak from my heart. And so I don't really have an option. And what I can say, first of all, I would like to invite anyone who has not participated in understanding the Siddha path to please come and participate in the course. The beautiful thing about this course is that it's really a conversation. It's an ongoing conversation about the Siddha path, how Gurudev is creating and sharing the Siddha path, how the teachers who have years of decade are sharing their wisdom, their knowledge. And so each one, though it's titled Understanding the Siddha Path, is unique. And this past one has been subtitled The Bliss of Freedom, which is Muktananda's name, and is also the title of the autobiography of my teacher, Swami Vivekananda Master Charles. So this particular course held a particular place in my heart, and
what I can say about it, and I'm going to quote Gurudev here, it's like wow. It's totally like wow. There was an incredible richness of sharing, an incredible richness of delineating aspects of the Siddha path and what goes into the Siddha path, brilliantly and beautifully shared by Larry and Mark and Dana and Mary. And Gurudev, who set the whole tone on the first day, and then allowed the teachers to speak and share and fill in and speak in regards to different aspects. Fascinating, insightful, enlightening. And the key word for this course that I picked up from Gurudev was magnanimous, which Mark just slipped in. Magnanimous, so that will be my contemplation, that will be my mantra for the next year. The last year was equanimity. And of course what I saw in the contemplation of equanimity was the lack of equanimity. It's lacking. But a beautiful contemplation, and now there's magnanimity. I could already see the lack of magnanimity. It's okay. I'm going to expand the awareness and be magnanimous. I think, the thing for me that's come out of this course is I've been very mental, and what's come out of this course is just really a settling into the heart. And so as I was running around this morning trying to pack and get ready to go and thinking, well, jot down a few words as I'm passing by the desk, on the way to, put the dirty underwear in the bag, was what's there for me if I'm sharing from my experience, and what's there for me is joy. So while there was no time to prepare, and while I knew I was coming here to share about the course, I was joyful. I was having a great time. The room exploded in clothing and items, and what was supposed to be packing just became a greater and greater mess as things just went in all directions. And as I was supposed to be putting things into the car, I was wiping dew off of it. That was my job, I was wiping the dew off the car. But what was there was joy. And what I've realized is joy has often been there, but it's been obscured by doing and making quips and little jokes. And Mary actually helped me distinguishing this. And what's there for me is this kind of gentle, bubbling fountain, which is just always there. It's there in this moment. It's just this gentle joy that's bubbling up. And when I envision it, what I see is this beautiful forest, and there's a glen, and there's sunlight streaming through the trees, and in the middle of this glen there's just this little spring, springing up constantly, and it's bubbling, and it's ecstatic, and it's joy. And I'm settling more and more into that. I think that will assist me in being more magnanimous, that the joy is present. And where does the joy come from? Well, the joy comes from the consistent practice of the Siddha path, the consistent practice over time. There's been many layers of the onion that I have peeled back over the decades of my practice. And it has not always been easy. It's been very challenging at times. And I have been very fortunate that my teacher was Swami Vivekananda, Master Charles, because he would pull out the sledgehammer if you needed a sledgehammer, And as he often said to me, gazing into my eyes, even a stone can illume in this energetic. I didn't realize until much later that I was the blockhead that he was referring to. A little thick here. And yet, with the consistent practice over time in meditation, those layers have dropped away. And more of that bubbling fountain of joy is present. And one of the key things that was spoken about in this course is, what is the object of your focus of your meditation? And I had not named the focus of my meditations. It's always about going subtler, going deeper, feeling more and more deeply into the presence that's there. And the presence that is there is the self. It is in stillness. It is in joy. It is love. It is intelligent. And that is my experience of it. And now I can give it a name, which is Shiva, Shakti, and opens me to the possibility of being more on the path of bhakti. And I consider that, through your grace, a great privilege to have come to this. And so there are words that I will be using as meditations and mantras during the year. And those are stillness and patience, acceptance, equanimity, magnanimity, gratitude, great gratitude, faith, and trust. In the Guru's grace, there needs to be the lifestyle that we live, a lifestyle, the daily practice, the daily devotion. What Swami Vivekananda used to share with us was, what you give is what you get. To the degree that you give to this path is the benefits that you reap. And that has been absolutely my experience. And the many blessings of this journey and the great privilege that I have these days to be the person managing the Synchronicity Foundation, which is the continuation of Master Charles's work. I'm a steward of what he created, and it is my privilege to steward his work forward and make another expression of the Siddha path available to as many people as possible. I am blessed in this and grateful on a daily basis that I get to live in a place like this, and then I get to share the Siddha path. I'm doing really good on time. I'm just about to nail it. That's good. And, one of the things that it's common for those who were around Baba, I'd never met Baba, was God lives in you as you see God in each other. That's beautiful. That's something that I love the words, but what do the words mean? What is that, the actual experience of God lives in you as you see God in each other, especially the see God in each other part. That's extremely challenging at times. We don't really see God in each other. I mean, that's a stretch. But I think, for me, is in becoming more and more in touch with that stillness within myself, that presence within myself. I always imagined it was all this kind of hullabaloo and grand experience and, clouds parting and angels singing, which I realize now the instrument of the angels is the santur, it's not the harp. It's wrong. An instrument of the angels is the santur. It's so beautiful. It's such a gift that you share that with everyone. And so, that experience that I have within myself of that stillness and that joy, and what I'm seeing more and more is that that's what I'm experiencing when I'm talking to you, or when I'm talking to you, or you, or you, or many people. And then I'm like, oh, well, there you go. There's the God in each of them. It's over there, but it's also bubbling up here, and that's how I see it there. And lastly, what I'd like to say is, I had the great privilege of spending 20 years with my teacher and working directly with him on a daily basis. And the gift of that is beyond measure. And this is another reason why to come and spend time in this course, because really the bottom line is about experience. It's the experience of the Shakti. It's the experience of awareness. And where can you get the experience delivered? It's through the Guru and the Guru's grace. And it's the experience that then is the focal point of the meditation, of the practice, of the mantra. And once you know what it is to feel it, to be it, then that's the focus. That's the focus of the meditation, that's the focus of the mantra, that's the focus of the practice. To continue to nurture and grow and vibe in that experience. And you get that experience delivered by the Guru's grace. So thank you. And thank you all.
Wow. Thank you very much, Mark. Much appreciated. I'm going to have to raise this one up because the next speaker is as tall as me, or maybe taller. I don't measure it. How's this look there, Peter? Okay. Something like this. I think this will work for our next speaker. So, in the next speaker that I'd like to share with you is someone, again, that I just met recently, as a matter of fact, at the beginning of this course. Even though we've been living in the same town for at least 40 years. How about that? And actually it's not true, I guess, because what I just said is not true. I actually met him when Gurudev met him, because I was with Gurudev in, I think, 1981, right? 83, that's right, 83, up the road a ways. And I said, how do you remember that? He said, oh, I had it in my diary. I wrote it in my diary that he had written a letter to Swami Shivananda. And really? Wow, in his diary. There's the value of diaries. So if we didn't talk enough about diaries this time, boy, everybody should try to keep a diary, because as Scott, who is my next, the person I'm going to introduce you to, I am introducing you to, he has had a practice of all these years of keeping a diary. And it's a very, very powerful tool of reflection and contemplation. And what we talk about, Shravana, Manana, it's a very, very powerful tool. So if you can discipline yourself to do that, it would be far out. So the word, so we've been kind of getting into words in our course. Gurudev come in with magnanimous. Well, Scott came in with the word equipoise. And we actually wrote it on the board. Equipoise. I said, oh, that's a good word. We were talking about balance and everything. And Scott, in his, very, introspective way, he raised his hand and said, I like the word equipoise. Of course, that just resonated. certainly resonated with me. I don't know, maybe it was just my impression, but everybody seemed to go, yeah. We actually wrote it on the board. Yeah, I said to Scott, I'm gonna definitely use that word. That is a great word. So Scott introduced us to equipoise and many other things. He's been very insightful and very, very deep and introspective. And his sharing has been just right on. And it's added a tremendous amount to our course. And I know all of us that were there fully appreciated it. I'm very much looking forward to continuing the dance with you on the path. And we live in the same town. So, yeah, this is an opportunity to, for Scott Lamp from Gainesville, Florida, to share a little bit about his experience with the course and the 40 years that he's been navigating on his own. Well, he thought he was on his own, but anyway, come on, Scott.
Satguru Maharaj Ki Jai. It is, for me, such a rich experience to be here with you good people. I want to thank all of you for the warm welcome I received as a newbie at this place. It's been very rewarding. And I want to thank you all for your support through seva and through your intentions that allowed our course and the people who were taking the course to not just be in the course, but to be present in the course. It's that background support that allowed us to totally be present. Being truly present, both teacher and student created a special atmosphere in which we could all experience the fruits of Sangha. And we were able to each experience the teachings in our own authentic way. There was no book of dogma. It was learning to be your authentic self. My own story with Gurudev is, you probably won't hear this again, it's more like a Bollywood musical. Only instead of boy meets girl, boy meets guru. Boy falls in love, guru is love. Through strange circumstances, there's a separation. And through other strange circumstances, we get reunited 40 years later. And the love is there and strong. So the course becomes a part of that story. It has provided me an undeniable, absolute confirmation that in spite of being separated from Gurudev, the physical guru, I was never separated from the supreme inner guru. My efforts to do the practices which I learned so long ago and to follow the teachings, that these kept me connected to the grace and kept my sadhana moving forward. In this process, I learned to listen to trust, and to obey the subtle voice of the inner guru. This took time. but it did come to fruition. I learned to hear the difference between the egoic voice, full of desires, and this other wise and benevolent voice. It began to guide my spiritual practice and my life. This is incredibly significant. It led me to practices which I can put into use now with my new direction. A few months ago, this inner voice became unexpectedly strong, and two significant things happened. The first came on a normal day. I was just going to lay down and take a nap. And the voice said quite clearly, quite strongly, "Get up and find him." Wow. So I knew who him was, so I immediately began my search. And I think you can all see the results of that little voice. The second message was met with a bit more resistance from my personality. I found it a bit harder to swallow, a bit of a challenge. This voice said, "The world is full of suffering. It's time for you to share what you know." Well, at first this was met with a bit of fear, and it seemed quite out of my league. But I had learned to trust that voice. And after checking to make sure this wasn't some egoic trap, I began the process of surrendering to this new direction. I began to share with the people around me. I shared more of the spiritual life that I had been privately practicing before. And I shared precisely how this had led me to a life of contentment. The response was very well received by those who were listening to me. Gurudev said this week something like this: "Speak about yourself, about what you do, without boasting." He also said, let go of the ego, and while staying in your own lane, find a way to share. As I attempted these very ideas, this whole new sharing thing, it became easy to tell who was interested and who wasn't interested. So I didn't need to push anything on anybody who wasn't interested. I knew I didn't have anything to sell, so there was no big emphasis to push anything. I know that with self-honesty and a desire to help others, that the skillful means will arise and it will fully develop. I have this faith because by being here in this course, I discover that this inner message is also in complete alignment with Gurudev's sankalpa, his intention. What I hear him saying to me is, come forward to help. Discover your own inner strength. Stay in your own lane, but have a purpose. Set an intention and find a way to share your joy with others. I don't know exactly what shape my efforts will take, but already people want to know more. And I'm in the process of helping a few people while forming a plan to be available for more people in more ways. As I proceed, I'm careful to share where the teachings come from. I point to the Guru, the lineage, and the great books and great scriptures we have available. And I'm discovering that I can, indeed, help others come into contact with the self. Going forward, I will continue to rely on the inner guru. But I certainly hope to have a lot more of the outer guru in my life. Maybe a Bollywood movie ending where we live happily ever after. So I'm going to nod. Maharaj Ki Jai.
And now we have Dina.
Sagarnath Jai. Not much more to say, except the feeling of fullness, feeling of having completed something very, very special. We all put a lot of time and energy into this, and the thing about the course, when Gurudev said, like, we need to have a course, we looked back at the old Siddha Yoga course and saw what had been done there, and it looked very academic and kind of bookish, you know. So I know we tried really hard to take what we had learned in those courses and over the years of studying the scriptures at Gurudev, each year different things that we were studying. So we took a lot of energy, put a lot of energy into that. And the courses began, and they were fantastic. And it really wasn't what we were doing, but what mostly, and in this case I see this in particular especially, it's what you all brought, what the people brought to the class. It was the interest, it was the passion, the mumukshutva, the desire for liberation, and the devotion that came. So as we spoke, it was like there was so much openness, and the feedback, the conversation, the sharing was what made the course come to life. And I noticed in this particular course that everybody was kind of second generation this time. So this bliss of freedom kind of came to the surface because all of you, and even the ones like Scott, who's not really new, as you can see, he's been working hard over the years. And the time between taking the first course and the second course, it was clear to us that you'd all been doing a lot of work, doing the meditation, taking it home with you. And when you came back, it was like, wow, this is a group that's very full and very open, and everything that we shared, and as somebody said, the same material. You know, we just kind of try different ways and study different aspects, and there's so much variety available to, you know, all the directions you can go in. Yoga Sutras, Bhakti Sutras, Kashmir Shaivism, Vedanta. Vedanta was introduced in a large degree this time. So there was more Atma Vichara, study of the self. The self cannot be named, it cannot be thought of, it cannot be seen, it cannot be heard. It can be sensed as the witness of every experience. And we actually had that palpable experience, that subtle intuition in the group, because the group was so subtle, open, having gone through so much together, that through devotion we're, as Mark put it, the way he put knowing the self, able to go to that space. There's so many people that contribute to the course as well. The staff, the kitchen, the priests, Devyani, everybody. And every time Gurudev and Devyani came into the course, it was kind of like the foundation was strengthened. And Gurudev, we were talking about, as he always says, high philosophy. Ideas that are up here. He'd come in and he'd go, right down here. let's make this practical, let's make this real, let's be nice to each other, let's be good people. Let's clean up our act. All those things so that we were covered from the bottom, the basic being grounded to being connected up high. So it's been quite an experience, and I want to thank everybody for everything that you contributed. So I'm privileged to introduce Gopita. And you all know Gopita. She was asked to play the harmonium. I know she played the harmonium a lot when we were in Hawaii together and back in the Oakland ashram. So she was, Gurudev said, you have to play the harmonium because you're the only one here. So she came the other morning and she was telling us how scared she was. And she couldn't play the Guru Gita, but she wanted to, she knows a lot, but she was kind of doubting herself and freaking out. And she went back to Gurudev and he calmed her down and told her to go practice. And she was practicing three days, almost every free moment she was practicing, and you see the result of it. I first met Gopita back in the Oakland ashram, and somehow or another we were both back there, sort of left behind out of the tour. And we had great fun. It was a little like Mark's experience in synchronicity, I think. So many people were coming. Gopita was designated as the cook, and I don't know that she'd ever cooked before, but she had a tremendous capacity to do things that were asked of her. To take the challenge, step forward, and say yes. And so we had big pots, lots of food were being cooked, lots of volume and big paddles that, 300, 500 people for a special celebration, which were called bandaras. So we'd get together the night or the day before, and she'd say, how many people do I cook for? And we sort of get together and we say, 300. And it usually came out great, and the food was delicious, but it was always fun. There's always a big smile and that laugh. So Gopita's been a mainstay of the course here. She was in charge of the coordination. She was always in there setting up the room because she has a corporate background. After being in the Oakland ashram, decided she was going to have an education. So she got educated, and she was working for Levi Strauss in environmental sustainability. Good at sustainability. So let's welcome Gopita.
Thank you, Dana. It's fun to remember those times. We did have a lot of fun back then. Durga was there too. It was wonderful. Well, okay, this course, The Bliss of Freedom, it was very significant for me. And I was one of those that had taken the prior two courses. At first I wasn't going to take this course. I just thought, I kind of already know it. I don't really need that information. But as it turned out, I came. And it was amazingly significant. And I want to attempt to try to share to you why it was so significant. And to do that, I'm going to have to go back to 1979 in the Oakland ashram. Because what happened was the most amazing experience I've to date have had in this whole study of a practice that we do together. It was 1979, Oakland ashram. I had met Baba, I don't know, just shortly before then. And so I was really excited. I dropped out of college. I just went all the way in. And it was an all-night chant, a sapta, as I had learned. And we chanted the mantra Om Namah Shivaya for Shivaratri. So I sat as close up front as I could and chanted, and it must have been around 2 or 3 in the morning. And I normally had my eyes closed, but for whatever reason, I opened my eyes. And then it was like this curtain was drawn. And everything looked the same, but everything was completely alive. There was this scintillating power of the universe, and it was so full of love that word doesn't describe it. And it was everywhere. It was in every person. It was in the space between objects. It was in me. It was in the sound, in the mantras that were going on. It was literally everywhere, and everything was that. So I lasted maybe at the most 60 seconds in that, which seemed like a long time. But then something in me, some little thing in there, freaked out, and I started to cry. And then I had these thoughts like, I felt so sorry, so sorry. You're here all the time and I never see you. I don't recognize, you're always there. And I had those thoughts, and then the curtain closed. And so I, to this day, have never forgotten that experience. It was like, I just thought of it as like this precious gem that I attributed it to Baba, meeting Baba. He was there at the ashram, not in the hall that moment, but he was there. And it was just something I always hold and I cherish. And I just thought, I could remember this, so whenever I hear about the scriptures, my mind is always going to that experience of this oneness everywhere. Now it was then, I'm going to go to this course, the last day of the course on Friday in the morning. Mark and Dana were charged with talking about the Upanishads. And at one point then, I think it was Dana, and he started to talk about the witness of the mind. And he asked the class some rhetorical questions, such as, who commands the prana, the life force, to function? What intelligence directs the eyes to see and the ears to hear? What enables the mind to think? And he was talking about the witness. And of course, I think most all of us have heard about the witness. But some magic that was going on in that course, it just there's a little clicking started to happen in me. And then Dana quoted Baba, a couple words from Baba. Baba said, become firmly centered in witness consciousness. Function with awareness, centered not in the mind, but in the witness beyond the mind. The object of meditation is identification with the inner witness. And then, so he said that, and then suddenly there was the sparkle. The spark happened, and for a split second, nothing like what I experienced 44 years ago, but there was that in front. It was just one. And it just, what can I say? It was like all of a sudden that precious gem that I was given, it's not static. It's always here, right now. And so I've learned, or I think I'm learning, I'm still that thought, that idea of focusing on the witness, I kind of imagine it's like behind my mind. Focus behind my mind. Focus on, step back, the witness. And that's the key that will unlock or open up that gem that I was given in 1979. So that is amazingly significant for me. And I can't speak highly enough about this course and the teachers and the content and the people and the just discussions that we had, because it came alive. So I want to thank you all. And I do intend, part of the question on Friday, we had to kind of give our experience and what are you going to do with it? Well, this experience that you've had, and mine is, my intention is to keep it going. This is something that Gurudev is telling us, keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. And for me, I'm going to really focus on that witness that's hanging out right on the other side of my mind, behind the mind. I don't have another 44 years, I don't believe, until the next experience. Time is getting shorter. And so another little mantra now that I'm holding on to very dearly from Gurudev is, don't waste time. Thank you all. Sagarnam.
So thank you, Gopita. So last but not least, right? Last, I'd like to introduce Mary. Mary provided the foundation for the course, which was the Hatha Yoga at 5 in the morning. She was asked to come forward and do this. She's been a yoga teacher for 20 years, since 1995. She lives in Mexico. She's very magnetic and full of energy, and has brought, as Niteshwari said, has brought many people here because she's both a therapist and a yoga teacher. So there's a lot of opportunity to meet people and to inspire them to, with her presence, with her advice, and with her yoga. The other morning, Jackie and I were leaving the building we live in about 4:40. Is everybody, almost everybody, I think everybody came to the yoga. Everybody that was in the course, and most of the people that live in the ashram, and Gurudev was here every day. The mats were all laid out, and Jackie and I got downstairs, and there were 4 people in their 70s and 80s were sort of beating us out the door to get here, to find their spot in their room. And it was like, wow, this is something. Something's going on here. The yoga was sort of medium hard, challenging for everybody, because and Mary is very, very focused. She's already here, has everything set up. And she said, you need to be organized. You should know where you are on your mat. You should listen to the instructions. And periodically through a pose, she'd say, listen to the instructions. Okay. But with compassion, not passion. Compassion. And then periodically she would say, breathe. Breathe. Oh, okay. So it's been a real privilege to get to know Mary more, because she just didn't bring only the Hatha Yoga. She brought her own experience of Baba, of the Siddha path, and inspired all of us to really strengthen our yoga practice. And also, she talked to us about Nidra Yoga, Yoga Nidra, and many other things that she contributed to the class. So let's welcome Mary Hamra.
Om Sahana Bhavatu, Sahano Bhunaktu, Saha Viryam Karavavahe, Tejasvina Vaditamastu, Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. I'm gonna breathe. So first of all, I want to thank Gurudev and Devyani for giving me the opportunity to share my practice, my lifestyle, my love and passion for the Siddha path and my foundation in life. Also, I want to say thank you to Mark and Larry and Dana and Devyani for giving me the contention to be myself, and all of you that also received my love and my experience. So when they asked me to talk today about the course, the first thing I did was, okay, I'm going to my room, take my notes, began to make a list of words, and then I say stop, because this requires time, contemplation, and meditation. So I understood that I had to do it from another space, like from a heart space. So then I received the schedule for today, and it did say Abhishek. So I listened to the instruction. So I didn't have to give a yoga class today, so I had time to go to the temple. And when I arrived, it was raining, and we were three of us waiting for Lavaji to open the door. And I say, okay, I'm going to wait with patience, and someone will come and open the door. So I entered the temple and do my darshan, and then I sat. And I began to hear the mantras, and I began to feel energy of Lavaji, just making the abhishek of the murtis, and the cleansing that was happening outside was happening also inside of me to prepare me for this talk. So what I want to share is that we need a foundation to go forward in life and in our sadhana. And being part of this family, of this tradition, is what has changed my life. And I've been a better person with Guru's grace and with his teachings. And the teachings of the Guru are all over the place, because we are all the Gurus and we are all the disciples. So I've learned to open myself to feel my sensations, the subtle energies that we breathe, and how this resonates with me. And one word that has been like resonating with me is the word together. We are doing this together. Like, I'm not doing only by myself. So all of us in this moment are creating an energy that allows us to expand and uplift ourselves. So for me, it has changed the way I perceive life. Because for many years, I thought I had to do it by myself. Raise my child by myself, do everything by myself. And then I understood that I never did it by myself. That was a veil, something that wasn't the right understanding. Larry. So for me, this retreat has been feeling this togetherness. So that's why I began my talk with this mantra, because the meaning of this mantra is this. Like, it's like feeling how the Shakti guides me, because the word together was like we were once in the course, and the feeling that I had was together. So then I opened myself to feel what does the Shakti wanted me to tell me with this word together. And then I began to resonate with the mantra, and then I went to see the meaning of the mantra. And the mantra says, Om, may we, Guru and disciple, be protected together. May we enjoy the fruits of our actions together. May we achieve strength together. May our knowledge be full of light. May we never have enmity for one another. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. I was like laughing at myself because I said, okay, I understood how things move in a subtle way. And then I said, but it's not me doing this. It's the Shakti through me that is guiding me to share this, to be aware of how the energy, the Shakti, is always trying to guide us and tell us this way from this way. So be open, that was I saying to me, but now I'm sharing with you. Like, be open and learn to move in life from your heart space. So all my classes have been like, even like what I'm teaching is something that I'm telling me all the time. Like, be centered, be focused, allow the mind to dwell in the heart, speak from the space, open. So for me, teaching is the way, like I was discovering that for me to teach is to stay present. So if I don't teach, I lose myself. But it's not something that I do outside. It's my constant contemplation of the teachings, my constant sitting in my own company and try to witness, I witness my mind. So I take time to listen and detach from what doesn't allow me to be joyful and present and sharing and loving. And this takes time. Like when we talk in the course about practice is 24 hours a day. It's not only when I sit and meditate. It's how I'm feeling when I'm talking with someone. What is happening inside of me. How I'm feeling, how I'm reacting, or I'm given the pause to understand what to say, what to do. So it's something that is all the time. And that's my practice. I do my practice every day. I do my Hatha yoga, my chanting, my puja. But at the same time, I'm always trying to be in me and be at the same time with the others. Like, never try to come to my center every time that I feel I'm lost. And the mantra that I will, we have so many knowledge that we listened, but if I had to put all that I received like in a short, like in a slogan or in English, I will say this. So open your heart to listen, because this is what I feel is the knowledge that I receive, and the other things will unfold with the time. But what I want to share is this: keep it simple. One pointed mind on the uplifting object of meditation, with right understanding and with love. Keep it simple. Keep your life simple. Your mind pointed in your object of meditation, so you have the direction, you know where are you going, what is your intention, your sankalpa in life. Ask yourself, why are you here? What is the purpose of your life? The highest purpose. And also the balance of enjoying life without losing myself. But always my mind is centered in the love I have to my guru and the lineage. And have the opportunity to have the right understanding, the viveka, discernment, to know what is good for me and for the others at the same time. So this world of Dharma, the foundation of my life, has to be good for me and for the others. So if I learn to do that, I will stay balanced, and I will be able to give more to people, like open myself to service, because that's something that I really enjoy, just to serve, but without losing myself at the same time. And with love. And I feel that everyone knows we have been touching that space inside of us. All of us. That's why we are here, because we want to feel that again. So my suggestion is, like someone in the course said, all of us, we all have our own way of being. We don't have to be like anybody. Just give you the opportunity to recognize how is your way of give love to yourself and to others. So this is the play of consciousness, the manifestation in many forms of that one consciousness. So for me it has been a very nice experience to go to my heart, speak from this space. In my in-breath, I say Nityananda, the eternal bliss. When I exhale, I say Muktananda, the bliss of freedom. Sadhguru Maharaj.
Larry.
Good.
Peter.
Sadhguru Maharaj Ki Jai. I'm not sure what needs to be added to all of that. When I think about it, my first response is nothing. Because what I loved about the Course and the Course in general is the richness that comes out of the multiplicity, which is just a play of consciousness, the different roles in that play of consciousness, and it just manifested in the Course. And you've heard it and seen it for the last hour or so. And I think that's important that we just, in line with our threefold path of hearing, reflecting, and manifesting, that we do that with what we've just heard. Because I don't know that there's anything more I can say that makes the point more clear. I mean, if I've observed properly, we've listened, we've laughed, we've cried, we've felt deep emotion, we've felt connection, we have felt all of those things, would you say, in the last hour and a half or so. And it's been wonderful to be able to do that. And it was Gurudev's idea, because certain things were happening or not happening with chanting and being able to do our normal program. But in his beautiful fashion, rather than resisting that, they simply said, oh, why don't we do this? You know, we could have people share, we could do this, we could do that. So that continual flow with what's happening, rather than resisting the flow. And I listened to him and I said, oh, that's really interesting. We've done a version of that the last day. He said, oh, perfect. We'll just do that. And it's been more than what happened on Friday. It's just been ramped up, you know, even more. And I hope people have gotten a real feel and sense of what the Course is. And I really think that the word is not correct in the sense of conveying what it's about. You know, and I think as we listen and listen, you got a sense of that. Oh, that sounds like more than a course. You know, that sounds like so many things. And I hope that's come through, that people realize it's not just sitting down and hearing a lecture. No matter how profound those lectures and teachings are, it's much more than that. It's hard to capture it, in fact, in words. So that was the best advertisement for the Course, I think, to what people to share. And I was mindful as I was sitting there, I don't want to disturb any of that. You know, I want that to really sink in. So using a little bit of technology and what I've learned from how Gurudev uses technology in a positive way, how I've seen Devyani use technology in a positive way. I've made some notes. I think everybody's had that experience in the last few days. I heard it in talks. I was going to do this, but then walking up to a chant or walking down the road, just something came to me. What came to me was, one, I just want us to all take it in. Two, I want to really thank everyone for their contribution. For Gurudev a few years ago saying, we're getting old. We need to make sure this tradition continues. It's so important. And you can go back to Bhagawan, but in terms of reaching out to people, what Baba Muktananda did when he said, we need a course. That's how it happened. So many years ago, he simply said, he watched people, saw, and he said, we need a course. And when Gurudev said, in his fashion, we need a course, we need to do something, we're not getting any younger, and it started to sink in. And then we just started to put our heads and hearts together to create something that was a reflection of that, that would serve that purpose, as it were. I tried to capture. I think one of the things that the Course is about is choice, is making choices that are consistent with our intentions, that are consistent with our desire from a spiritual point of view. Danny was talking about mumukshutva, that desire for liberation, that desire, in fact, for freedom. And when I thought of that, two interesting quotes came to me. One from an icon in the sporting world that Dana loves so much, of baseball, Yogi Berra. Many of you have heard of Yogi Berra, directly, indirectly. And one of the things we maybe didn't know, that his name, his nickname, Yogi, came from the fact that he would sit in the yogic position when he was younger. Someone says, "Oh, you're a yogi," and it stuck. But his way with words, one of the things he would say, the thing is, when you come to a fork in the road, take it. I know, you just go, wait a minute. But there's something in that kind of funny way of putting it. In other words, in the way we've been thinking, don't just stand there, take it. And I felt like he was saying, just do something. It may be the wrong way to go, but you'll know that if you do something. You'll never know that if you just stand there. And then one, in more of the literary world of choice, Robert Frost, when he said, "I came to a fork in the road, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference." And Gurudev, just yesterday, was talking about how, the last couple of days really, following the crowd is not necessarily the best choice. Make a better choice. Make a more connected choice. And that will make all the difference. And I think we sit here in this Sangha, and that's kind of what we've done. And that's what the Course is about. Taking a choice which may not be the most popular choice. And the stories were sharing that. I was thinking particularly of Fernando when he was saying, do I have to? I'm busy. I've got so many things, important things to do. And his wife said, you need to do this. And that has made all the difference. And I think each of us would probably have our own version of that. And I think in some ways, the Course was about allowing us, staff, teachers, participants, students, whatever role you play, allowing us to, in that process, finding our way better, finding more of, to use modern terminology, finding our lane. And one of the things that I had the privilege of speaking about in the Course was how life can be a journey of heart and purpose. That we need a purpose in our life, for one, but we want that purpose, whatever it is, to have some heart, to not just be being busy, but something that's giving us something. And as it gives us something, we're able to then share something. So Gurudev talks so much about finding the goodness within us, but then not just stopping there, sharing that goodness. And so the essence for me of when he said we need a Course, was that even as we practice and do our sadhana, we don't need to stop there. We need to find a way of sharing that. And that's really important. So that came to me, and I thought as it came out, there was so much variety. And I realized the Course is actually another form of satsang. It's another kind of sangha, a gathering of a sangha that has a common purpose. So yes, we have each our own unique, different purpose in the world. But from a higher perspective, when we gather in the Course, I think everyone would agree, we found that we had a common purpose at the highest level. It was common. Maybe it manifested in different ways, but certainly it was a common purpose. And we were emboldened and enriched and lifted by sitting every day and sharing in that common purpose and getting clear about what it is. So I think for me, that's one of the things that it's always a joy to just see people doing what's most important and sharing in that. There's in the line of just something that comes to you, there's a quote that I often find useful to talk about the many ins and outs, different challenges, seemingly sometimes contradictory, paradoxical, but it's all a part of this larger thing. Mary talked about together. For me, one of the words that's been resonating a lot in the last few years is that whether we're out there or in here, it's all connected. It's only wrong understanding that makes us think there's the material world and there's the spiritual world. Really, it's all connected. And our challenge and where we need right understanding, and this was very much Baba Muktananda's teaching, and what Gurudev is always teaching, is that it's actually all the same thing. That's what unity means. And if we don't see that, then the work needs to be done. The work of seeing that unity needs to be done. There's a quote, a passage that I've always found useful. Mount Analog. I don't know, I think it's a French word. But anyway, the instruction is this, in terms of the following the path. Keep your eyes fixed on the path to the top. What is the goal? What is it that we're seeking? But don't forget to look right in front of you, because the last step depends upon the first, how we begin. Don't think that you're there just because you see the summit. Watch your footing. We know at so many levels that's important. Watch your footing. Be sure of the next step. But don't let that distract you from the highest goal. The first step depends on the last. That's what we have to hold. All of that as we journey and walk the path. To do that, we have to grow. We have to expand. We have to extend our awareness to right in front of us, inside of us, there, the next step, and the summit. And often we're asked and challenged to do that simultaneously. That's an Australian way of pronouncing it. Simultaneously, all at the same time. And so, for me, the Course just reinforces that point of it's all connected. So finally, before Gurudev speaks and just pulls it all together, Baba Muktananda said at some point, the true goal in a person's life is the knowledge and experience of the inner self, which dwells in every person's heart. Turn within and come to know the light of God, which dwells in your own heart. This light is none other than your very own self, which is the source of all beauty and creativity. Always remember the self. And I think that's the Course. Thank all of you. Sagarnath Maharaj Ki Jai.
Muktanandaya Gurave Shishya Samsara Harine Bhaktakaryekadehaya Namaste Chitsadatmane Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Sachidanandamurtaye Nishprapanchaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahe Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahe Om Shanti 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 Satgurnath Maharaj Ki. So with great love and respect, a heartfelt welcome to each and everyone who's here in person and somewhere around the world. So we have with us Meena, who's come all the way from Denmark for Satsang this morning. Because, by the way, she happens to be meeting her brother from Philadelphia, his wife and kids. And so when we were talking about generations, I thought of them, who are associated because of their father and his sister, an uncle from their family who met Baba, an aunt I should say rather, who met Baba in the 60s, first Bhagwan, then he took Samadhi. She was disappointed that she met him so late. When somebody said, no, his disciple is around, so they met Baba. And then, I don't know how many generations are still associated with us, with this path, with this tradition. And it's just wonderful to see that the kids have come along. Because the kids could have said, like Fernando, we are so busy. School, college, jobs, things to do, a party on the beach, at the beach. They're from Philadelphia. Philadelphia has so much going on, so you can ring the bell of independence. And I realize for so many of us, Viveka, the choice, what is right, what is uplifting, what is better. So simple, yet so difficult. And as you heard, I shared on Friday a quote from Arthur Schopenhauer, on Wednesday rather. What the herd hates the most is the one who thinks differently. What the herd hates most is the one who thinks differently. It is not so much the opinion itself, but the audacity of wanting to think for themselves something that they do not know how to do. So I feel that 90% of our society, or maybe a little bit more, belongs to this something they do not know how to do. And when we come to the Guru tells us, follow the path of the unsafe. Independent thinker, expose your ideas to the danger of controversy. Speak your mind and fear less the label of crackpot than the stigma of conformity. Somebody named Thomas Watson said this. But as we heard all of these people over the last almost 2 hours, starting with Niteshwari and Lawarji and concluding with Larry, and I feel like I'm the cherry on the top now. We've had the cake, and there was more, but we had to choose some, and there are still some who will say for next time, And as Larry said, I use technology through the iPhone, through the iPad, through my laptop, to write notes, to copy whatever I read from here and there, so that when I want to know what I understood from what I read, and then I use YouTube to listen to Swamijis who express some Vedantic or scriptural thought, some entertainment, and never get to watching movies. So I learned some time ago watching clips is good fun. And you can watch the same clip again and again because it's fun. Because a whole movie, there was a particular movie I thought would be good because I watched the clip, then I realized the movie was boring. But the clip was good. Oftentimes YouTube recommends, suggests. So I've watched a lot of Jason Bourne over the years. Sometimes the whole movie, sometimes clips. And I think of it often as the time we spent in Baba Muktananda's company. Because somewhere he says, I can tell you the kinds of people that are in here. I can tell you who's sitting with his left hand, who's sitting with his right hand, who's doing this, who's doing that. And it reminds me of the time we spent in Baba's company because that's how it was. You had to be so present and so aware. There was not a moment where you could just say, I'm going to do nothing. Because that did not exist in his vocabulary, doing nothing. So for all of you who are here for these 2+ weeks and probably sometimes felt a little bit more sleep, a little bit of doing nothing, a little bit of just hanging out on the deck, whatever the thought is according to our who we are. If Baba ever found us doing nothing, he would look at us like, you're wasting time. Do something. Do something uplifting. Do something beneficial. Do something. And he would always, I remember one day I was cleaning somewhere in his room. And I was probably just cleaning. And he walked by and he goes, do the mantra. And just kept on walking. I was all of only 10 years old, if even that much. I looked at him. I don't even know if I knew what the mantra was, except that we've heard it in his talks. We heard people talking. And he said, go home. And when he spoke, we talked yesterday of the tiger, the roar of the lion. And that's how he was. He was not, please repeat the mantra. It was not, I suggest that you do the mantra. It's not like, I think you should do the mantra. It was, do the mantra. Do the practice. Do the sadhana. And so, it will be 42 years next year, next month, that he's physically left us. But yet, as you heard from everyone here, whether they met him personally or not, that stays with us, that remains with us. I shared yesterday something Baba said before he left his physical form in 1982. I want to see this world full of saints. I want to see everyone happy. Everyone should live in constant bliss and should not even dream about unhappiness. This is my last wish to God. So when we think of this, his prayer, his wish, his desire, to live in constant bliss and not even dream about unhappiness. And we think of all of the people around the world who got the touch in whatever form that it took for them in their life, and who are so many years later studying Vedanta, the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita. And I think of the philosophy of Vedanta as a very practical thought. And I think of the philosophy of Kashmir Shaivism as an experience. Many people often tell me that they only want to study Shaivism, and I tell them, no, you need Vedanta. Because Vedanta gives you viveka. It gives you discrimination. To do, not to do. Because that clarity has to come into your mind. Go to satsang or go to a party or do nothing. Because that's a regular and everyday choice. Wake up, go to the temple, whether it is here in the ashram or whether it is in your own home. To just for a few moments connect to that divinity and operate from that space. Not just wake up, roll out of bed, and begin your day. The day has to have purpose. Life has to have intention. You can't just, I often say, when you go to somebody's home and they say, what would you like? And you say, whatever. It doesn't work. Because there is no such thing as whatever. That person wants to know. They want to have an idea. Do you want something hot? Do you want something cold? Do you just want water? Do you want tea? Do you want coffee? Coffee with milk and sugar. And by saying whatever, you've only made it more difficult for them. Because now they have to bring everything. Everything that they have. Or take you to the fridge, or take you to their kitchen and say, this is what I have, what would you like? So imagine that when you're going to somebody, either bring with you what you want, because you think they may not have it, because you have such a complicated lifestyle. Or be ready with a choice. Because that's obvious that when you go to somebody, they're going to offer you that. You could just say, I would like some room temperature water. That is clarity. That is purpose. That is intention. And imagine how happy your host is. How happy you are. And when we think of what Baba Muktananda taught, he taught this. Not that we sat in a class and took notes, clarity. But it was that firm determination. And the scriptures teach us all this. They tell us all these things. And so that's why when Dana said it's not just thinking, oh, I'm going to sit here and now be, as Gopita said, in the experience of the witness, in the experience of consciousness. It's how do I take that and apply it into my daily life? How do I be that? I think either the last year or the year before, I shared a story of a tiger and a donkey. The donkey says the grass is blue. The tiger says the grass is green. This conversation continues, and they decided to go to the king of the jungle, the lion. And when they arrive there, it's always like this. The ignorant yells out his truth first. The wise wait for a moment. The donkey yells out, "Oh lion, isn't the grass blue?" And the lion says, "Yes, the grass is blue." And he says, "Can you please tell the tiger with whom I've been having this conversation, and he keeps denying. So the lion looks at the tiger and I say, I punish you for 5 years to be silent. The donkey is very happy and says, thank you. I'm glad somebody understands. As the donkey goes away, the tiger looks at the lion and says, isn't the grass green? The lion says, yes. He says, then why did you punish me? He says, because so stupid of you first to argue with a donkey. And not only argue with a donkey, but then bring that donkey here to me. First you waste your own time, and then you waste my time too. And when I read this story again and again, I realize we do that so much in life. The word that comes to mind is ignoramus. Why? You don't need to. Just move along. When you think of keep moving, keep moving, keep moving, that's all that you have to do. Because the small-minded will always keep you trapped in whatever form it is. You come to the Guru and he says, expand. Grow. It's okay, don't conform. Don't think you have to belong to a label. It was amazing as we grew up, when you are young, you're very observant, you watch. You don't actually have any stakes in the game because you're just there, you're having fun, your parents have brought you along. So it's going in that way. And so you observe all of the people with all of the labels who have a lot at stake. Their egos at stake, their ideas are at stake, there's so much is at stake. And observing that each situation was handled in its own wonderful and beautiful way. And to be able to appreciate that. Even in my own case, sometimes, Baba would give one instruction, you follow that instruction, you're following that instruction, and he comes to you and he says, what are you doing here? And he could not look at him in that moment and say, just a few days ago you said to do this. Because that was then and this is now. That's where you were then, and therefore that was the instruction then, and this is today, this is where you are now, and this is the instruction now. But the ignoramus wants to argue about the past, wants to argue about where it was. The wise knows, as Baba Muktananda often said, this too shall pass. This too shall pass. And so if we remember that, this too shall pass. And so you look at life and you think of life and you think of what is it that I am doing. We have Mark Hayes here who made a wise decision 6 years ago to leave San Francisco, move to Virginia. Master Charles was in his last days of leaving his body. Stay there, take care of synchronicity. It's not easy because, San Francisco is a nice place, the weather's just right. It has its issues, therefore Gopita left. So Mark also left. But one of my favorite cities of the United States is San Francisco, for various reasons. And of course I've never lived or settled there, but it's okay. I tell people imagination is free, imagine away. But to make that decision, which is a much bigger decision, to make a choice that will not only uplift you, but uplift others along the way. And I feel why I say study Vedanta, because Vedanta is like sharpening the knife at all times. Sharpening that viveka, that discrimination at all times. To know what is the decision that I must take. What is the choice that I must make? So I shared at the intensive yesterday, it was Friday night, there was this whole ocean of energy. And whatever that was. To do something. To find more purpose in life. As somebody told me 10 years ago, if you never do one more thing in life, it's okay. I said that would never be the case. Because the Guru would not be at peace. Because he would think, what are you doing? Nothing. So what else, or what other way can I express this Shakti, this energy, this feeling? And so it's a question often I ask myself, with how many have you shared this wisdom, this knowledge, this experience? Because just like Gopita shared her, I'm sure each one of us has our own moment of wow. And I feel the first time it's like really wow. But then we've had a little glimpse. We've had a little taste. So next time when we have something like that, it's a little bit less in the wow factor because we've had the biggest wow. And so, but we continue, we move along, it goes on. And here we are today. 40, 50, 60 years later, 70s, 80s. I plan to go past my 80s now, I decided that. So, because I thought there's so much to do. I think that's what Friday night was about. It was like, I remembered this morning a story. Baba Muktananda had an interview in Australia, probably in 74 or 78, I don't know which year. And in Australia, the tradition is when you've had a good time with somebody, you invite them out to beer, to have a beer. So the reporter says to Baba, the interview was excellent, we've had a good conversation, let's go out and have a beer. So Baba says, I'm already drunk. And so the next day, I think the headline of that article of Baba's was, Swami drunk on the beer of inner love. So there's a quote of Baba's which says, learning without love is useless. Yoga without love is meaningless. Sadhana without love, whatever sadhana it is, cannot take you to the joy of the self if it is sadhana without love. Fill yourself with love. Spread this love among others. Love without desires, love without craving, love without attachment is the key that vanquishes infatuation, enmity, and delusion. You don't have to study a lot of scriptures because all ideas come from God. Here it is not a question of knowledge, but of love. And so, Swami Brahmananji Maharaj, Mahamandaleshwar, who gave us sannyas, I think it was in 1994, he lived with us in Pine Bush for a period of time, almost 6 months. And he would talk about Baba, he would talk about meeting Baba, he would talk about his time with Baba. And one day he said, he didn't even know me. Because Maharaj had just gone to meet Baba in 1977 at the hospital in Mumbai, Nanavati, where he was staying. Because somebody told him there is a Swamiji Muktananda who's in the hospital, and he was just 10 minutes away. So he thought, a Swamiji is in the hospital, so we should go meet him. So he went, they met, whatever the conversation they had, then Maharaji came, gave sannyas to the first group of Baba Swamis, the second group, and all of us in the third group. And so Maharaji's question was, what was it about Baba? And I knew he knew the answer. And he said of his own, he gave love. Brahmananji Maharaj said this about Baba Muktananda. He said he gave love. He said he didn't know me on a personal level, on a physical level, yet he gave so much love. And what Maharaji wanted to say was that all of us connected to Baba Muktananda, connected, as Baba says here, it is not a question of knowledge, but of love. So when we think of the satsangs that we had with Baba, I think the quality was like we have here this morning. We have so many different people, so many different places, so many different languages. Yet when you think of what's the most important experience we've had, it's, as Vedanta says, indescribable, anirvachaniya. Or as Kabir says, it's like you give a sweet to a mute person and ask him to describe how is the sweet. So when we ask ourselves, what do I feel? What is going on within me? I think we have no words. We don't know, but we know, wow. And so, I take this opportunity to thank each and everyone who created, who participated, who took part in whatever way, not just over these 2 weeks, but over the years. And we have to feel grateful, gratitude for ourselves in whatever way we participate, for those who make sure that it continues, because my mantra is that our gurus, not just Bhagwan, Baba, but our tradition is about being open. A place that's open to everyone for whatever that person's or individual's reasons may be. They just come in, they feel as if taken a dip in that bathtub of love, if you want to say that. It's not correct, but for the lack of, vocabulary, it's like when I often think to myself, what is it that happens? What brings us again and again and again? I don't think any one of us could pinpoint to a particular thing and say. Sometimes in Baba's time, we had what was called Amrit. And some people would say, I come for the Amrit. Amrit means nectar. So it's okay. You come for the brownie, you come for the cake, you come for the cookies. But Baba Muktananda was clear that if we talk about Mary and fishing, Baba was a good fisherman. He knew that you had to hook you somehow. And so how to hook you was important. And once you got caught in the fishing line of the Guru, of the grace, then that was important. And so I think in whatever ways, chanting, meditation, satsang, seva, food, good company. He would just keep inspiring each one of us to do this, to create this blend. And somewhere in there, the wisdom, the experience, the foundation upon which to base our life. And in this time where there is so much turmoil on the outside. Some days ago, I don't know why, but YouTube told me to watch a documentary on the tsunami. And I'd never seen that. I only knew of it. We were in India at the time, because it was Christmas, December. I think the year was 2004. 230,000 people died in those few moments. And I often share that nature is strong. Man always thinks he is strong. Humans always think they are strong. But nature takes, I don't know how long it all lasted, but from the way you look at it, it's just moments. An idyllic beach, enjoying the Christmas vacation with family, with friends, something some people had planned for years to do. And one lady shared, she's up on the roof protecting herself because the water is rising, and the little child is swimming by with his look in his eyes and his hand like, pull me up. And the lady is like, I can't pull you up, I'm just trying to save myself. And she said, not a day goes by where those eyes cannot be forgotten by me. So when, as I shared yesterday, Baba Muktananda would say, now, don't waste time. You don't know how much time. So when I watched all that, I thought, wow, here we are thinking, I want to do nothing, whatever that nothing is. And here is the Guru saying, do something. So caught between the nothing and the something. And what is that something? You have to find that. You have to figure that out for yourself. What is that? That is truth. That is eternal. That will always be there even when you are gone. And so, a lot of contemplation, a lot of pondering, a lot of conversations, a lot of just breathing to come to that place of truth. Be settled in that. Be established in that, and not allow anybody to shake you. And so life offers freely many tsunamis, internal and external. And to be firmly rooted is important. So I feel when I say to each one, it is important to share and to share the experience, the knowledge, the wisdom, because it's a tradition that has existed, and to inspire, to cultivate inner strength, to have the dedication to seek the highest goal of human life. On the 10th of September, they are celebrating Depression Day. Or maybe Anti-Depression Day, I don't know what it is. But yeah, I didn't know. Vivek Desai wrote to me that. Or maybe World Suicide Prevention Day. You cannot have one day of World Suicide Prevention. I tell this again and again. You cannot have one day of a celebration of anything, whether it is your birthday, whether it is your Mother's Day, whether it's your Father's Day, whether it's your whatever day. It has to be every day, every day, every day. So when Baba Muktananda says, do something, then do something. And what is that something? You have to, roar like a lion. What was the story? I forget now. Oh, the lion feels he's the best thing in the jungle. But then he sees the monkey jumping. He sees all these other animals doing something. He feels a little sad. I cannot do all these things that these animals can do. And he realizes he can roar. And the lion roars. And when the lion roars, no one laughs. So the moral of that story was roar like a lion. And I think we had an intensive, maybe 2 years ago, right? Roar of the lion. Because I think Swami Durgananda had written an article about Baba. He had just written to Ganesha in 1981. And she wrote, "The lion returns to Ganeshpuri," I think, something like that. Because he had traveled for 3.5 years through the Western world, and when he arrived back in India, the welcome from the airport, through the villages before we got to the ashram. I remember a little story Meena's father shared with me from the 70s. He was posted in Pakistan. And he said Baba sent people to him for their visa extensions or visa renewals or whatever. And he said we would host these people. Of course, there was no physical connection, except Baba was the connection. And so we forget sometimes what all the Guru does for us, including a visa extension. Because we don't know, we just show up at somebody's house, we trust that it will all be taken care of. Trust is important. And it is all taken care of. And not just this or that or that. But doesn't mean don't do anything. Yeah? And because sometimes this is the mistake we make. We think, Baba, we're sitting under the wish-fulfilling tree, everything will happen. So, as Baba Muktanand always reminded us, self-effort and grace. Both are important. So put forth the effort, the grace is ever present, always there. So, we thank once again all of the people who spent these last 2-3 weeks here at Shanti Mandir. Mary said, I'm going to continue to stay a little bit longer, so we'll do some pillow and chair yoga. Open up. And we look forward to seeing everyone again. We have Navratra coming up here the first 2 weeks of October, 3rd to the 12th. Then we have the Sattvic cooking class on the 15th, 16th, 17th of October. 17th of October is the full moon, the day Baba Muktananda left his physical form. Then we have an intensive on the 19th of October celebrating Baba Muktananda's Mahasamadhi. And then 28th we have our farewell satsang, and the cycle keeps going. Keep doing something, keep at it. So we'll end with Jyota se Jyota. Gopita on the harmonium, Dana on the drums, and everybody else singing. Jyota se Jyota jagala, Sadaguru Jyota se Jyota jagala, Mira Antarati Mira Mita, Sadaguru Jyota se Jyota jagala, Yogeshwara, Gyaneshwara, Yogeshwara, Gyaneshwara, Sadaveshwara, Sadaveshwara, Padandeshwara, Sadaguru Jyota se Jyota jagala. Durakaro dukha darada saba daya karo Bhagavan mana mandir mein ujwala ho tera nirmal gyan jis ghar mein ho aarati charan kamal chitrai taha hari vasa kare jot anant jagat jahan bhakt kirtan kare bahe prema daya taha hari shravana kare satya lok se aaye सब कुछ दिया आपने बेट करो क्या नमस्कार की बेट करो जोड़ो मैं दोनों हाथ नमस्कार की बेट